When I was a young novice in the monastery, I believed that peace meant the absence of struggle. I thought that if I meditated long enough, breathed deeply enough, or walked slowly enough, life would stop throwing challenges at me. But life has its own sense of humor. One day, during a long meditation retreat, I found myself frustrated, irritated by the smallest sounds, annoyed by my own thoughts, and strangely angry at a mosquito that refused to leave me alone. I wasn't calm. I wasn't centered. I was tilting. In psychology, tilting is a state where emotions override clarity. It's when frustration snowballs into impulsive decisions. Gamers know it well. One mistake leads to another, and suddenly the entire game collapses. But tilting doesn't only happen in games. It happens in life, in relationships, in work, and especially when we are on the edge of burnout. Burnout doesn't arrive like a storm. It arrives like a slow leak. A little pressure here, a little exhaustion there, and before we know it, our inner world is flooded. We start reacting instead of responding. We lose patience with others, and eventually, with ourselves. I once asked my teacher, "Why do we tilt even when we know better?" He smiled and said, "Because the mind is like a cup. When it's full, even a drop will spill it over." Most of us walk around with cups already overflowing, with expectations, deadlines, unresolved emotions, and the constant noise of comparison. So the smallest inconvenience becomes the drop that spills everything. But here is the lesson I learned. Tilting is not a sign of weakness. It is a sign that your mind is asking for space. When you feel yourself tilting, pause. Not for an hour, not even for a minute, just long enough to take one conscious breath. That single breath interrupts the emotional spiral. It creates a gap, and in that gap, clarity returns. In the monastery, we had a simple practice. Whenever we felt overwhelmed, we would stop whatever we were doing and touch the ground with our hands. It reminded us that we are supported, that we are not alone, that the earth beneath us has held billions of lives before ours, and it can hold our worries too. You don't need a monastery to practice this. You just need awareness. If you're feeling burnt out, ask yourself gently, what am I carrying that I no longer need? What expectations are draining me? What am I trying to control that is not mine to control? Burnout thrives in silence, not the peaceful silence of meditation, but the silence where we ignore our own needs. The silence where we pretend we are fine. The silence where we keep pushing because stopping feels like failure. But stopping is not failure. Stopping is wisdom. When you rest, you are not quitting. You are returning to yourself. And when you return to yourself, tilting loses its power. You begin to respond with intention instead of reacting with emotion. You begin to see challenges not as threats, but as teachers. You begin to understand that peace is not the absence of noise. It is the ability to remain centered within it. So today, I invite you to slow down. Not because life demands it, but because your soul deserves it. Take a breath. Release the tension in your shoulders. Let your mind settle like dust in still water. And remember, a calm mind is not found. It is created, one conscious moment at a time. Thank you for spending these few minutes with me. May you walk through your day with clarity, compassion, and a cup that has room for peace.